Scott, great to see you as always. And it's always a joy to catch up with you. And we have long conversations about stuff around business, and I always enjoy it. So thank you for giving me a bit of time to come and have a chat about what you do. Your business is pretty innovative, which is one of the reasons I'm glad that you're going to come and talk about it. So just to kick the conversation off, Scott, I mean, tell us what you're trying to achieve. I mean, give us some insight for the people that are listening into the mission of your business.
There are two things we're trying to achieve now. So when we set the company up years ago, what we're trying to achieve was a way for corporates to find innovation solutions far quicker and far cheaper than ever before. And we did this by creating a platform which corporates use, all the big names use the platform. And thousands of innovators respond to these client challenges on the platform. So what we're trying to achieve was what people call this two things: LinkedIn for innovation, or the world's biggest innovation dating agency.
Right. Okay.
And although the board hate the innovation dating agency, the reality is it's true. That's what we do.
Yeah.
What we don't do, a client will say to us, we're looking for X. And what we don't do is produce a list of 1,000 newly registered startups. We find the three or four solutions that can respond to X and have a match directly, which is what you want in a dating agency.
Yeah.
Um, if I was looking for a wife, which I'm not, what I don't want is a list of 10,000 single women in London. It would be useful when I was 17, perhaps, but not now. What I want is a list of 5 women that want to marry me. And the whole model of leading edge only was, how can you apply that for innovation?
Mm.
And that was the route. So we operate now in 120 countries. But the while that model will be maintained, what we're trying to achieve now is helping innovators tell the world they exist.
And let me ask Scott, because it's a really interesting idea. And I mean, your analogy about a dating agency is quite an interesting one. I mean, how did you come up with the idea?
I came up I came up with the idea. I wrote a formula years ago which could predict human risk. It would tell you with 99.9% accuracy who's going to make the wrong decision that day. So you could stop them making the wrong decision before it happened. And that formula was taken by lots of corporations around the world to predict risk and stop it happening. And I was with a big oil company, and I said, "What are your problems?" Because they'd taken this formula. What are your other problems? And they said, we know there are two innovators out there who've got something we need. And the problem is we don't know where they are. They don't know we're looking. And they said, that is the issue we have. And so what made me do this was, how do SMEs like I was with that formula, how do I tell the world I exist, or this formula exists? Because I don't have the marketing budgets. Yeah, I don't have the connections. And so what are we trying to achieve now is we're number one in the world in terms of corporates using the platform to find solutions. We now also want to help innovators tell the world they exist. And that's what we're now doing. So
Um,
if you're an innovator anywhere in the world, we can tell the world you exist. That's what we're trying to achieve.
yeah. Um, and why does that mission? I mean, I get the logic of it. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, but why does that matter to you personally? I mean, running a business is a bit like a roller coaster, isn't it? I mean, you have good days, you have bad days.
Yeah.
You have quite a few bad days. I mean, it's a roller coaster. What is it about that mission that motivates you, if you like, to get up and ride the roller coaster every day?
Probably because I don't think about it too much. Um, I think I think what makes me get up and do it? Well, I have a passion. There are so many great innovations out in that market that never get seen.
Mm.
And I've got a passion to get those guys' solution out there in the market. And it is not, I know how hard it is. I mean, I've done it for oh God, 30 odd years.
Mm,
And I'm pretty good at getting in front of corporates. I mean, only because I know how to do it.
mm,
And the passion is how can you help someone that's got a great solution but has no clue on how to get in front of these corporates? But conversely, how do you help corporates that they may have a challenge, but conversely, they don't know what's out there they're missing.
mm.
And if they knew what was out there, they didn't know existed. And my passion, why I get up in the morning, is to connect those parties together.
Yeah.
Um,
I get that. I mean, it solves a really quite significant problem, doesn't it? And of course,
it's a massive
through that
problem.
helps to accelerate growth, which of course is what everyone wants and all the rest of it. So, I mean, let me ask you about that issue. When you tell me about the moment when you thought this could be a global solution.
Oh,
I
day
know
one,
you're in, I know you're in lots and lots of countries now, but tell me about the
yeah,
point when you thought, actually, this is something that we can scale globally.
day one,
Right,
day
it's
one.
born global. It's a born global idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. Let's start off in the UK. And I've made lots of mistakes by the way, perhaps as I should have done. But it wasn't let's start off in the UK. It's how do you solve a problem in America where the solution's in the United Kingdom? How does that company in California know the solution they need is sitting in Norwich?
Yeah.
There's not a cat and hell's chance they know that he's sitting in Norwich. And the guy in Norwich does not know there's a guy in California looking for their solution. And therefore, you have to do it globally. In my view, you can't do this locally.
Mm.
You have to do it globally.
Yeah.
And so, to answer your question, it was day one. How can you provide a global innovation marketplace?
Yeah. Which is built into the idea, isn't it? It's built into the, it's part of the idea. You couldn't do it any other way, really, in terms of how you.
No, nothing's changed. The principles are exactly the same as day one. Um, it's just we're now doing more and more, more and more, and we are doing more pushing out now. So, in other words, I would say we were active with the corporates. X was looking for Y. We actively searched, and we have I don't know how many. We've got about 100,000 innovators use the platform, and about 30,000 publicise what they've got on the platform.
Mm.
And we were saying, how can we give those innovators more? How can we proactively push them out? So instead of just saying I'm on the platform, is how can we raise their profile to corporates that don't have a specific challenge but would like to know that solution existed?
Yeah.
That's the big step now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And a
that's
complicated, I mean, a complicated exercise given the numbers involved. Let me ask you about I mean, when you realize this was a global problem and a global solution.
Mhm.
When on day one, when you started, what did you think the principal problem was that you were going to have to solve to achieve that goal, to create a global platform? I mean, what was the one big thing that you thought, this is the thing I'm going to have to overcome to get to where I want to get to? I mean, tell us about that.
There were two big things. The first big thing was how do you do it? No, there's probably two or three big things.
Right.
One, how do you do it, and how much is it going to cost just to even start doing it? Two, where do you get that money from? And three, how do you tell the world you exist? Those are the three key problems. And the fourth one, which I hadn't even thought about, which hit me like a hammer, was how do you get anyone to use the platform?
Mm.
Because the problem was innovators wouldn't put anything on the platform because no one was looking. No one was looking because there's nothing on the platform.
Okay, so you got to kind of catch 22,
Yeah, that
right?
was the big problem.
Yeah.
Um,
And how did you solve that? I mean, that's a really interesting conundrum. I mean, how did you fix that?
which was the fourth problem, getting people to use the platform.
Well, that conundrum that you just talked about not having, you have to have both sides on to make it work, but nobody wants to
Yeah,
come on until the other side's on. So, I mean, how did you resolve that conundrum?
I was sitting here where I'm sitting today, and it was 7:30 on a Friday evening, and the phone rang. And I've been mailing people to say hi. This is what I'm trying to do. And I pick up the phone, and there's a guy on the other end, and I said, "Are you okay driving while we're on the phone?" And he said, "Oh, I'm not driving. My chauffeur's driving." He said, "I'm sitting in the back seat." And it turned out he was the chairman of one of the world's biggest corporations.
Wow.
I can't say who he is, but he was the chairman of one of the world's biggest corporations. And he said, "We like what you guys are trying to do." Well, guys being me. And he said, "I bet you're struggling getting credibility." And I said, "It's the biggest issue I've got, apart from money. I've got no money." And he says, "Well, you can tell the world we recommend your system, your platform. We recommend what you're trying to do. You can use our name." And this was, I mean, if I told you it was, you know it was. And that was a turning point.
Right. Yeah. When you
Like,
get somebody buying in, somebody saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna jump on this."
yeah. And
Yeah.
I
And then other
mean,
people follow, don't they?
he said, "I'm not giving you any money." He did actually. It wasn't a fortune, it was £5,000, but it was a principal. But that was a key turning point when this corporation said you can use our logo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, you're successful now. I mean, I know it's a few years ago that you started, but you're successful now. Were there ever moments on that journey when you thought, actually, maybe this isn't going to work? Have you had any of those kind of, you know,
no,
down days when you thought this is just not going to work?
no, never. There's been down days where where you said to the team, "I think we should do this," and it hasn't worked.
Right.
Okay, those happen. But if you want to grow a company, you have to be doing that nearly every other day. You've
Yeah.
got to continually, not necessarily pivoting, but you've got to be continually saying, "What trick are we missing?"
Yeah.
And the only way you can do it is test it. And but the principle of what Leo is doing, it hasn't changed. I think it's absolutely.
Mm.
I think it's more important than I even think it is. It, there are so many founders and startups trying their damnedest to get out of the glue that sticks them on the floor. And on one hand, a lot of them don't understand how much effort you got to put in. They'll spend every working hour creating something new, and they've got to spend 100 times that telling the world they exist.
Mm.
And so many fail because they can't get in front of the right people,
Mm.
which is annoying because the right people are there looking for them. And I think the mission of Leo is to give every innovator on the planet the opportunity to tell the world they exist,
Mm.
and for corporates to find the solutions they need quickly to reduce cost. Our clients tell us we reduce their cost in money and time by 9% by
Wow.
using the platform.
Well, that's a fairly significant amount, I would have thought,
Yeah,
cumulatively.
yeah.
So,
Um,
I mean, let me ask you, you mentioned making mistakes and trying things out. I mean, has there ever been a really big mistake that you've made and you thought, oh, well, I wish I hadn't done that? Have you had any of those?
when there are too many and you can't remember one, it,
I get that.
um, I, no, not big mistakes. Um,
Have you had mistakes that have changed the direction of the business that you thought, oh, I'm not going to do that, but as a result of that, I'm going to actually do something else because, I mean, have you had those that have helped you kind of move forward in a new way?
no, I want
Oh,
to caveat this by not saying we do everything perfectly. We're not, but I can't. There are lots of small mistakes, like going after the wrong sectors, for example.
right.
Um, like going after perhaps the odd wrong geography at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't think of anything that we thought, blimey, that was totally the wrong strategy or the wrong direction.
Well, that's encouraging. You're obviously doing something right. I mean, I just think the reason I was asking is I think it's really difficult for CEOs to kind of, if you like, see the message from the noise. I mean, there's a lot of noise around running a business, isn't there? People are emailing you, and there's lots of stuff that you're supposed to be doing, and experts think this and they think that. And I always think one of the challenges is to kind of park all that stuff and say, well, no, we're going to do this. But it's easier to say than do.
Yeah, the what I've learned is you just got to focus on where you're going
Yeah.
because there are a million things, million people pulling you left and right to get off that track. And you've got to say, you've got to remove the distractions.
Mm.
And if it's not helping you get to your goal, you just dump it.
Yeah.
So we get every week people emailing saying, um, we love what you do. We'd love you to bolt on our product to what you do. But they don't tell me what's in it for us. It's always how they will benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them you think, yeah, that could probably work. But you're thinking all they want basically is access to what we've got, which
Yeah.
we've built up over the years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are the only database on the planet that actually has true innovations. There are lots of databases out there that have lists of new startups that have been invested in, but doesn't mean they're innovative. And people want to latch onto that.
Yeah. A
And
very valuable bit of IP.
yeah, I think it's hugely valuable. And you can easily forget your goal by saying, okay, let's have a look at this. I think when you said what mistakes have we made in the past, I think it was going down that route too often
Yeah. Yeah.
and not just sticking, to where you're going to go.
Yeah. I mean, I've certainly been guilty of that when with hindsight, no doubt
It's
about it.
it's the model we do now is instead of saying, does this make us more money? It says, does this benefit our clients or the innovators? Would this service be a benefit to them? And it's a good yardstick.
Yeah.
And we got a great CEO in the company called Jaden. And Jaden is so focused on getting from A to B or B to A, whichever one you do it. But he is excellent at not having any distractions.
Yeah. And of
And
course, it's it's pretty important, isn't it? I mean, a business without customers is not a business. So, I mean, understanding the needs of your customers and helping your customers and focusing on customers, pretty important thing to do, really, isn't it? I mean, that always strikes me. And it's very easy to lose track of that. I mean, I think that's a really well-made point. Let me ask you about one of the other challenges of running a business is, I mean, how you work out I mean, it kind of reflects this same issue. How do you work out what is best for you to do, and how do you work out what to delegate? That I always think that's an interesting challenge because certainly at the beginning in most small businesses, I mean, the role of the CEO is not chief executive officer; it's chief everything officer. But as you grow, you have to stand back and delegate. I mean, how do you manage that sort of process?
well, it's pretty easy as you start off because there's only so many people you can afford to employ.
Yeah,
And you just have to limit the task to what gets you to your goal. But as you grow, it becomes more complicated. There's too many overlapping things. Um, we well, I had a policy to start when we started the company. I borrowed £75,000 from the bank, and for that I had to build a platform, an initial platform. It was very basic, the initial one all those years ago. And the first employee was a lady called Haley, or lady girl. She's just fresh out of Loughborough University, and the government ran some really good apprenticeship programs. And so the first two or three employees are all apprentices. And what they they bring they bring energy,
mm,
masses of energy.
mm,
They bring a certain naivety um, as well, but it's outweighed by their energy. And Haley's still with us to this day. She's in charge of global clients globally.
mm,
And we've been one thing you've got to you need for every startup and founder out there, there's a few things you have to have, fundamentally have to have. And one of those is luck, luck with people.
Yeah.
You get that wrong, and you're absolutely stuffed. You really are. And we've been lucky with people. We really have. I mean, the team we have, I wouldn't change any one of them. We've been lucky to find the right people at the right time. Of course, you take on one or two that never actually made it, but they're in the minority.
Mm.
And how you decide what people do, if you're lucky, it'll happen quite quickly. But
Mm.
sometimes it takes a while before you find out what their real niche is in a small company. And the challenges small companies have is you get the wrong person in the job, and it's an absolute the effect it has on the company with the wrong person is massive.
Mm.
I mean, imagine in the old days when I had three or four people. If one of those people were not performing, it was 25% of the workforce,
Mm.
and it has a massive effect on the business. So with people, we've been lucky, and they've naturally slotted into where we need them to be.
Mm.
And the other massive thing that founders and SMEs can offer is opportunity.
Mm.
If you want to be global head of X, you can be global head of X in a small company. And with major corporations, a lot of the time, your skills are always recognized. But the small company have such an impact.
Mm.
And we've been damn lucky there with that, the people we've employed. They're all absolutely superb.
I mean, it's a great place to go and work if you know SMEs are a great place to go and work if you want to make a difference because you can really make a difference, can't you? I mean, it's very different, being a small cog in a big or small fish in a big pond. I mean, if you're a big fish in a small pond, you can do a lot. I mean, I totally
Yeah.
get it.
It, it,
Go on.
it's an interesting question on that. Is and I don't know the answer, by the way. Is why would you join a small company? Why would you join a company with two or three people in it?
Yeah.
Because it's always pretty high risk. And but they seem to. And I think a lot of it is they're recognised and noticed, and they make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's been a real benefit for us.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned the idea of high risk. I mean, and I totally understand that. I mean, joining any small company is high risk. I mean, most small businesses don't survive, do they? I mean, what I know what the figures 80% or something of startups fail. I mean, it is very high risk. But humans are natural risk takers. I mean, I'm a good example. I'm a mountaineer. I mean, lots of people say, well, mountaineering is a completely daft sport. Why would you want to climb up to the top of a mountain and climb down again? I mean, it's a daft thing to do. Um,
Yeah.
you know, um, but there's an element of joy in it, I think, and there's an element of joy in working in small businesses when you can make a difference. It makes people feel good, doesn't it? If you think, yeah, I made that happen.
Yeah.
So so I think there's something in the human nature that encourages us to do that. I don't know what it is, and I'm not a psychologist, but that's certainly my view of it. But let me ask you about um, how you approach that. Have you had moments when, in retrospect, you look back and thought, I should have been a bit bolder?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you want
Yeah.
to give
But
us an
I'm not.
example?
Yeah. Yeah. I can. It's like when you were you teenager and you went to the disco, so they were called then, having the guts to ask someone to dance, and then years later thinking I should have.
Yeah,
The one thing I could have done that was bolder was brought in a head of marketing earlier,
right.
an experienced market person. But the problem is it's a high risk role. It's a high risk,
Mm.
and I think if I could go back and the budget allowed, I would have brought in a marketing person a lot earlier.
Right.
Um,
And do you feel that not having brought the marketing person in
mm.
has kind of slowed the growth of the business? Is that the problem you were trying to fix?
I think without the marketing person, we probably scored 6 out of 10 for effort. We probably did pretty well actually. But if you ask me to pinpoint to one thing, if anybody wanted some advice, I would say bring a marketing person on as soon as you possibly can afford it,
Mm.
because that's the biggest battle. It's not developing the product. It's developing the product's not difficult. You just work out what you need, and you employ tech people, and they do the brilliant job of converting your ideas into deliverables. But a good marketing, I mean, a good marketing person, I think I would have brought on earlier. Yeah, yeah, and I know how valuable they are because of the rubbish people send me, and you and everyone else out there. I can't believe they. I often think I should do a lecture on how not to email people
Yes, yes. Because
because
the daft emails you get. I mean, I get loads of those.
when they start off, "Hi Scott, I hope you're well." I think you don't care less whether I'm well or not. It's
Yeah.
just a ridiculous statement, especially when there's exclamation mark. Then they'll send you an email about what they do, which is normally badly written. Sometimes I go back and try and correct their English, but they'll send a badly written email about whatever they're trying to sell you, which you delete. Then you'll get another one 3 or 4 days later saying, "I hope you read my email. It's of interest." And I'm thinking, you should always think I've remembered
Yeah.
what you write. And now when you get 100 plus of these every day, you just look at them, and out of 100, you'll spot one that knows how to do a proper message, and the rest of them, you think. And I just went, "Were we like that? Years ago?" I don't think we were that bad because we put a lot of work into how you write a message. We'd spend 2 days working on how you put a message together and get everyone to sort of
Yeah. It's a
input.
it's a really important skill, isn't it? You get a good marketing person that can help you with those sorts of things. I mean,
But
it makes a
we've expanded 120 countries through emails, finding people and writing the right email.
Mm.
And so we must be doing something right.
Mm.
Um, and we've used LinkedIn, obviously, like everybody else does, which is superb. That's how we've expanded.
Mm.
But getting the right message, you've got to be so hypercritical.
Mm.
You know, I get emails saying, "Hi, pal." Like, like I think I'm going to react to this hi, pal, and respond to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get typos, and you think, why would anyone work with you? Why would
Yeah.
anyone?
Yeah.
You get
Before we go too far down the rabbit
already.
hole of crazy marketing stuff that goes
Yeah.
on, let's just because we could spend all day talking about that. I know I could. So let's just move on a little bit. I just wanted to, because I'm conscious about time. You've now got fairly reasonable sized team. I mean, give us your one of the challenges of being a small team and working in multiple countries, 120 in your case.
Mm.
That it's also it's tough on the CEO, it's tough on the team, because there's you've got to have a team that performs effectively. They've got to do things well. You haven't got a lot of slack if things go wrong, and so on. I mean, just give us your take on building an effective team. I mean, what's your take on that? Because it's being a great CEO is one thing. If you haven't got a team to help you out, probably not going to make as much progress, are you?
How have we built a great team? That's what you're asking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, we've had no. I tell you what's made life a lot easier for us. Funny enough, was we're based just north of London,
Hmm.
and pre-COVID, you'd employ people within 10 or 15 mile radius of the office. We then worked from home like everybody else did for a year or two, which has allowed us not to be reliant upon people living within 15 miles of where the office is.
Hmm.
And I think what's helped us expand is the mentality now, people working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone works from home, and then we go to the office whenever necessary, which means we can employ people anywhere in the world. And I've got a team of people that are very good at interviewing. I'm hopeless at interviewing, so it's not down to me. I just assume everyone can do what they're asked to do, which they can't. But you like to think so. But I go back to we've been really lucky with people,
Mm.
really lucky, and I don't. I think the reality is you can interview till the cows come home. You only find out how good they are when they're doing the job
Yeah.
because there's some people out there who are very good at being interviewed and don't and can't do the job. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who are bad at being interviewed, me being one of them, who actually can do a job.
Mm. It's a
And
difficult problem to solve, isn't it? Finding those people that don't come across very well but can actually do the job. I mean, I've
yeah,
worked.
and we've been lucky in. I can't tell you how lucky we've been with people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just to come back to I mean, now you've got a remote team. I get the point. You've shifted from a geographically based team to a completely remote team. I mean, how do you manage people remotely? I mean, because there's a lot of challenges involved in dealing with people that are, well, working with people that are a long, long way, way
yeah.
away. I mean, how do you manage that challenge in terms of keeping the team focused, but supporting people remotely?
Well, A, it's no longer my responsibility, which is pretty good. Um, Jade, the CEO's responsibility, in they have systems in place where they talk to each other every day, the regular meetings. There's virtual coffee mornings on a Friday, I believe, at 9 o'clock. I'm not invited to any of this, by the way. Um, they have systems where they can communicate with each other and have a clue what those systems do,
Yeah,
but they're in constant contact. And the ones that do live near each other will meet up for coffee once every week or two,
right.
and it works. Um, it does come down to honesty as well. I mean, we've only had one employee that I think abused the system. Um, they can work which out that they have set hours, but they can be flexible on those hours. And Jaden works very hard in making sure everyone is happy and supported.
Mm.
And it seems, I mean, all I'm telling you, it seems to work. We don't have any issues with remote working.
Mm. That's encouraging to hear because a lot of people really like it. I mean, there are some people that don't like it, of course, but a lot of people really do, and I think it's a great thing being able to work from home if that works for you.
Yeah, you miss. I'll tell you what you miss. You miss saying to people in an office, "I've got an idea." Now you've got to book a meeting to tell them you've got an idea. So beforehand, it was, "What do you think of this? I think this could be good."
You lose a bit of spontaneity, is what you're saying.
Yeah, into a meeting room on the whiteboard, draw it out, and they'll say, no, it'll never work in a million years, or yeah, that could work. You can't do that working from home.
Mm.
You if I have an idea now, I've got to book a meeting. I've got to say, okay, and then diaries, oh yeah, we can meet and discuss this idea next Wednesday. And you're wasting time because it could be a rubbish idea or you could be working on it.
Yeah.
And I miss that. I desperately miss this. Why don't we do X? Why aren't we looking at this market? Why aren't we doing Y?
Mm.
And I think that's the downside of working from home,
Yeah,
being
no,
remote.
I get that. I get that. Lots of spontaneity. It's fun. Doing stuff spontaneously can be really good fun sometimes, and
Yeah,
that in itself is motivating, isn't it? Let me ask you about new markets. I mean, you've touched on that. You're in 120 different countries. I mean, some people, if they're going to go into a new market, they develop a market entry strategy. They develop, spend heaps of time on marketing. They, recruit boots on the ground, etc., etc. I mean, and at the other end, there's people that just follow demand. Oh, I had lots of clients that were in France, so I went into France. I mean, do you have a take on market entry in your
yeah,
context and how that works?
yeah. If I think we should go into Brazil, we'll just go into Brazil. There's no research. There's nothing.
Right.
Yeah, and it's probably the right way of doing it. I'm sure Harvard would tell you you've got to do all the research and do all this sort of stuff. But I am not made that way. And probably it's a good or a bad thing. But the question was, how do we conquer Australia? How do we get into Australia?
Mm.
Because the big issue there is the time difference in phone calls and stuff. The gut reaction was, let's find a partner.
Mm.
We found a partner. We didn't do a lot of research. The first one that popped up that looked pretty good, we said, let's talk to them. They were very good. And they partnered us in Australia. And it's the same for everywhere else. I just think sometimes you've got to go with your gut.
Mm.
And sometimes you're wrong, sometimes you're right. As long as you're right more than you're wrong, you're fine. Now, where Jaden, CEO, is a planner, Jaden wants everything in order. So it's a pretty good combination.
Yeah,
Um, I just think if you're lucky, the majority of the time your gut's right about something.
yeah.
And so,
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs would say that. They tend to just, follow the nose, follow the gut, really. And like you said, if they're right more often than they're wrong, it all works out in the end.
yeah,
Um, and has your business, as you've, moved into more and more and more countries, I mean, has the business evolved?
nope, I don't think so. I think the model we have, I think the nice thing is the model we have works in any country.
Right.
So this morning, for example, we had more innovators join the platform this morning from 4 different countries. Yeah. And one from Australia this morning, just saying we like what Leo does and we'd like to do X, Y, and Z. The message we send out is the same to every country. Um, and I think it's because we're talking a common language in terms of innovation. Um, we're not consultants, which I think would be different. How you operate each country would be different.
Mm.
We've never had any obstacles. We've never. I wish I could. No, I hope I couldn't tell that we've had obstacles, but there's been no issues in any of the countries we operate in at all.
Mm.
And there's been the challenge to promote ourselves in Canada or Australia or South Africa or America has just been consistent. There's a consistency of what the messaging we use and the responses we get.
I mean, it's interesting because, conventional wisdom says, doing business in Berlin is very different from doing business in Singapore or whatever. I mean, have those cultural nuances not affected how it works at all?
No.
Oh, that's really interesting. And presumably because that's the platform. There's people get onto the platform and there's a model that they have to follow.
Yeah, I mean the LinkedIn model works around the world.
Yeah,
The Amazon and eBay models work around the world, and our model works around the world.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And have there been? I mean, we just talked about sort of cultural issues. Have there been any kind of ethical or environmental challenges along that journey? No.
nope. Would you like me to say yes? But the
No, no.
answer
I'm just curious as if there have been. I mean, you know,
no,
I am. I'm just interested in people's experiences of those things. I mean, some people have a lot of issues around that. You obviously don't.
no, no. And I think it's because it's a platform.
Yeah.
There's little human interaction. The main human interaction is with the corporate clients, because we talk to the corporate clients every week
Mm.
about what we're doing for them, how we went together. But it all comes down to the platform is a pretty level playing field for everybody.
Yeah.
So if you're a corporate client in Australia or Canada, or you're an innovator in France or in Switzerland, it's still the same functionality. You can still use the platform to connect and promote yourselves.
Yeah. So it's a big leveler, really.
It's a huge leveler. Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah.
is probably a good thing, would be my reading of that. Let me ask you about the journey that you've been on. I mean, is there anything that you know now? Are there things that you know now that you wish you'd known at the beginning?
God, how long is this chat? Is it a couple of days?
Probably not. So you need to summarize the top one.
Oh, what do I know now? Oh, I don't know. Um,
Okay, well, don't worry too much about that. I mean, look, let's just change the question a bit. What are you most proud of when
I,
you
th-
look back on
I
it?
think I'm most proud, apart from what we're doing as a company, I think it's the team built around the company I'm most proud of.
Because? Why does that matter to you?
Well, because there are three teams. You've got your employees, where we've been lucky, the board, and the shareholders are the other two teams. And we have an incredible shareholder base that lets us get on with what we're doing.
Right.
And we have an incredible board that makes sure we go in the right direction. And to the point where unusual, most boards meet once a quarter, once a month if you're lucky. Our board meets 2 o'clock every Friday.
Right.
And every shareholder is invited to join those board meetings. And I think that's one of the big strengths of the company. We are surrounded by people that support the direction we're going in.
Mm.
Um, and that's, I think, if I can do one thing, is pulling people. I can build teams.
Mm.
Because I think I'm lucky with that.
I mean, it's interesting you say that because, I mean, people are your most important resource if they're doing the right thing. So one of the challenges is getting people pointed in the right direction, isn't it? If you can get them pointed in the right direction, then it really works, doesn't it? Right people, right direction. That's when you can really make progress. I
Yeah,
I think
but
the other thing that it's interesting you say that because I think the other sort of generic lesson is to surround yourself with smart people, people that are good at what they do, and that works in terms of a board. You want a great bunch of people on your board. It works in terms of employees. You want great people in the business. It works in terms of your leadership team. You want great people in terms of the leadership team, and so on. Surrounding yourself with great people and getting them all pointed in the right direction. It seems to me it's a fundamental of business, but people so often forget it.
yeah, I think you want to employ people brighter than you,
Yeah,
and we do. I mean, I'm astounded at some of the people that we employ and that are on the board. They're extremely clever. But there's a fourth element to this: is working with the right clients.
yeah,
So you can have your team, you can have the board, you have the shareholders. But then the fourth part of that jigsaw is we are lucky with the right clients. We work with clients that align with what we are trying to do and what they're trying to do.
yeah,
And um, and they're the world's biggest names now. And so we must be doing something right.
yeah. No, absolutely. I'm sure, no doubt
I
about it.
think it's down to the people.
Let me ask you. I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to ask a couple more questions. If there was one piece of advice you could give to somebody that's starting out on your journey, I mean, what would that be with the benefit of, like me, you've been around a few years. I mean, with the benefit of your experience, what would that one piece of critical advice be to somebody just starting out?
You've got to be absolutely focused on what you're trying to achieve. Absolutely, utterly focused and have no distractions. And the reason you're going to have to be utterly focused on what you're trying to achieve is 90% of the time you're going to be in pain.
Mm.
10% of the time you'll be okay. There'll be the odd happy hour. But 9% of the time you're in a fight.
Mm.
And it doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't change.
You think the more the company grows and the older you get, it eases off. It doesn't. It gets just as
It's
bad.
worse, I think.
um, focus. Just keep that vision,
Mm.
but you're in for a fight.
Yeah.
And
It was a competitive world. No,
yeah,
you know,
we've got competitors, but none that do what we do. They do similar to what we do in different ways, and they're all very good. They're all good in what they do in their own way. And we think our way is the best way, and they probably think their way is the best way because they provide a lot of consultancy services, which is not what we do. Um, but you've got to have that focus and not be distracted. And it's so easy to be distracted,
yeah,
and you've got to put up with the pain. You know,
yeah. Let me ask you two last questions. In terms of, I mean, you've talked a lot about the journey, very interesting journey in my book. Tell us about what's going to happen next. I mean, what exciting things have you got on the agenda for the business?
um, well, I can't tell what all the tech team are building new tech all the time to make it more efficient. The one thing that excites me now is getting promoting innovators,
Mm.
proactively pushing them out to corporates. And for corporates to be shown solutions they never knew existed because they never thought about that sort of technology or that service. So what's now really my motivator is giving innovators in every country the opportunity to tell the world they exist,
Yeah,
and for corporates to discover things they never knew existed. That's my goal now.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely.
Look
And
what it does to you. I'm only 45.
yeah, yeah, right. One last question, and this is not really about you and your company, but really about the way industry is changing at the moment. I mean, what's your take on the way AI is going to change things? I mean, it seems to be having a massive impact in lots and lots of different areas. I mean, what's your take on the way AI is going to potentially change your industry, your sector?
Well, we're incorporating AI into what we do
Mm.
um, to speed up the process, to make it more efficient, to make it more relevant. But whatever you do, you still come back to two people talking to each other.
Mm.
I mean, you can use AI in dating agencies, but you're still going to take the girl out for a meal at some point. And it's the same with this. You can speed up the efficiency using AI, but at some point, the corporate's going to have to talk to the innovators. And that's us to make that more efficient and to get the right people talking to the right people. Um, that's how we'll be using AI. But
Mm.
you but you still come down to human interaction at the end of the day.
Mm. It's about how you facilitate that, I guess, isn't it? And whether AI can help facilitate that. I guess it will find a way to, would be my reading of what's happening.
Yeah, it's amazing how many AI experts are out there suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've been training for years to have an overnight success. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Scott, as always, it's a joy to talk to you. I mean, I'm glad things are going well, and thank you for taking a bit of time to talk us through the story. Really, I mean, I think it's a brilliant business you're building. I mean, connecting people that want innovation with people that are offering innovation seems to me to be a fantastic, thing to do. So, thank you for talking us through that, and as always, good luck going forwards.
Thanks so much. I'll leave all your people watching this founders to tell them overnight success takes 10 years.
At least,
Yeah, if you're
yeah.
lucky. If you're lucky. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thanks
See you
so
soon.
much.
See
Yeah.
you soon,
Cheers.
Scott.